What is up, DTube? What is up, Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about some quick thoughts about global identity and global currency. So the first thing I want to say is this is not easy stuff to solve. Okay, global identity. What do I mean by that? Well, the way people sort of got a so-called identity, or what they identified with, or when they was born, we created this identity. Oh, this one was born here, so it's X person. This person is born inside these borders. It's one of these. But the problem now is that a lot of people are mixing. They are moving around a lot. They're moving to different countries. So a person may have traits coming from another place, which means this idea of that you have a specific identity on a specific people, it gets kind of nuanced. And now we have more things that are being run in a more global perspective, with a more global identity, mainly because business, it's better for business to do business with everyone instead of just a few. So everything is getting global, which means probably some identity solution needs to be, I don't know, decentralized, I don't know, but some kind of a global identity solution. And this is a very weird topic because we still haven't solved a global currency, right? Because what was the issue with the global currency? Trust. That people do not trust each other. So Bitcoin, it has found some interesting solution where they call it trustless or permissionless. Now the question is, can you do the same thing with identity? Can you have a trustless identity, permissionless identity? I don't even know. I haven't even thought about it so much more in depth. And then you of course need to combine governance in all of this. So you have some form of global identity, you have some form of governance, and you have some form of global currency. And if you could take that, okay, you can make something like Bitcoin, but then we do have some issues. For example, yes, you can make people holding something value that is trustless, but can you actually use it? Can you actually make it something that everyone has? Can you make it stable? Can you make it non-volatile? How would you regulate the price? What would you measure Bitcoin against? It may have solved the digital storage of digital, let's say gold, but a regular day-to-day currency that's trustless and permissionless and that people want to use and that they can compare to some other form of value. Right now we're comparing everything in the world to dollar, for example. So it seems as people should compare against something else, and I don't really know what, because this is not something that is easy to solve. But the global identity thing is a little bit interesting in many ways, because in many ways it's very, from my view, it's very all or nothing. Either everyone works together or we're not going to have any solution. It seems that is where it's heading, and that perhaps in the future it's going to be very, very obvious that global identity is pretty obvious. Right now for humans, global identity is not really that obvious, but technology pushes it forward, right? Because the technology pushes people have more freedom to look at things, to analyze things, to observe things, and they see that clearly. technology allows you to peek into other people's worlds. It gives you a global perspective. So the idea of making a decentralized identity is really, really interesting. Or let's say a cosmic identity, that before a person gets empowered, they have to identify with the cosmos instead of something very limited. So it's a very delicate subject, just because people look at it in so many different ways. But it seems as humans should work as some anthill or a forest, where, I mean, a forest, it looks pretty well distributed. This is gonna be a big topic. It's going to be slower if humans want it to go slower. It's gonna go faster to solve most of these things if humans want it to go faster, if they do something, right? And it might take 10, 20, 30 years, but some things, some changes in the world. Question is if we really have that much time. I don't know. Especially with automation and AI, and a bunch of other yummy things that comes into play in a global world. Because a big thing that a global world creates is it disrupts a lot of systems that are already in place. And it's not because any human did something. It is that technology frees a human up in many ways. They can do something, and it can affect millions. So daily you have dramatic changes in governance and leadership, in how people look at things, and that's interesting. Both for good and worse. So how do you solve a global identity? I don't really know. It does seem as the best thing is to get everyone having the best, basically the best services available for them, best hardware, best software, and that they can sort of may earn some value or whatever, that they have the tools that they want, that they can explore things. It's very awkward for many systems, because identity it's such a big role in terms of so many structures. It's really interesting. Because the way a human has set up their identity, it basically decides everything about them, in what they pay attention to, in what they care for, all of this. So in many ways, identity is of course something that many people would want to control. Just as people are trying to control Bitcoin or something like that. Which is why it's so interesting how Bitcoin was designed. It's not perfect, but it's an interesting system. And the core idea is to have a distributed system. So maybe a decentralized identity is possible, and maybe you can distribute it across many networks. I don't really know. Is it even needed for identity? Can AI do most things? AI can probably do so many things that many of the things we're doing right now won't even be a thing that people are wondering about in 5 years. Because something better comes along. Right? So that is interesting. It's really hard right now also for people to imagine what humans will do in 10 years. It's really hard, to be honest. But it's a fun time also. These things hasn't been solved yet. So much innovation, so much infrastructure, so much stuff that needs to be done. And it's going to be interesting to see how identity will play out. It's really a big topic now. And I think still that many people that try to make solutions, in many ways they try to make a human's identity smaller. They want them to be a pixel in a screen. So we're gonna see, I think, two extremes. People that want to have a limitless identity, and people that want to make your identity super, super small into maybe a pixel on a screen, smartphone. Maybe they won't even want to put you in a computer. Do not be surprised if someone want to put you in a computer. But can you put a human in a computer? You can put memory in a computer, but is a human a memory? Is a human memory? Is a human a memory case? Maybe they want to be put in a computer. But for a person with a global limitless identity, cosmic, do you want to be put in a computer? I don't think so. But we're probably going to see both extremes within the next 20, 30 years maybe. It's going to be interesting. And I think it's going to spark people to be more curious. Observe things way more. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Use some quick thoughts. Global identity, global currency. Both these I don't have any solutions for. I don't know how it's going to play out. But it's something that I think more brains needs to look at and see if they can come up with some clever thing that is not centralized on a specific source. Yeah, have an awesome day, DTube. Have an awesome day, Steam, blockchain. Bye bye.